Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Break. My name is Quincy Parrish, and I'm here with my guest, Josh Butensky. Well, Josh, I know NFL season it has ended, but I mean, NFL free agency is on the horizon, and yesterday was the first day of free agency, and I see the Giants. The Giants made some big moves, spending over $200 million in contracts. I believe we signed Oliver Vernon, Janoris Jenkins, Damian Harrison, I believe, and we also re-signed JPP and Victor Cruz. So the Giants, they're over $200 million in new contracts. How do you think? Do you approve of the moves?
I definitely approve of the moves. They got better. They needed to address their defense, and that's exactly what they did. I think they went from one of the worst defenses, because we all know how horrible defense
They were terrible
was.
last year, man.
Yeah.
They really were, yeah.
And now they probably have one of the top. I don't want to stretch it too much, but we can say like top 10.
Right. I mean, last year I looked at the stats last year. We were 32nd in total defense in the NFL. Dead last in the NFL. So defense, that was an area that we desperately needed to address. A pass rusher, Oliver Vernon. We really were lacking. With our overall pass rush. JPP. He was coming off of the unfortunate hand injury, so he wasn't himself the whole year. Janoris Jenkins, a great cover corner in the back. And Damon Harrison, he's a great defensive lineman as well. So, and even we took care of our own. JPP is back, Victor Cruz. So, I just hope it's a sign of good things to come. Making these moves.
Yeah, I definitely like that they gave JPP another chance. I know he had another surgery to try to fix his hand and his fingers, or
right.
He doesn't have much of a hand anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen the hand, but I mean, I believe JPP. He had other offers. He had higher offers from other teams, to make more money. But he kept his loyalty to the Giants. He said the Giants was the only team who really believed him, and they stuck with him. So loyalty obviously means a lot to him. And the Giants took care of him. For at least one more season, but hopefully, he can be the JPP of old.
I mean, he's committed. But speaking of commitment, Victor Cruz.
Victor Cruz, right? Yeah. I believe a 1.3 base salary. I think it's about $7 million less than he made.
Yeah.
Than he was supposed to make.
But there's incentives on the deal, so he could be making a little bit more
yeah,
money.
I've seen it. I think about $5.5 million in incentives, based off his performance, so he can make up, most of that money, But it's hopefully he can, because we need a big year from Victor Cruz,
You don't want to put all the work on Odell.
Yeah, OBJ, man, he's, they're going to double him, so we need somebody else who could take the pressure off of him, Eli needs the help as well,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need those wide receivers.
Yeah.
Now you have the defense. Now you just got to get that offense.
Yeah, man.
rolling.
Thing is, it was the first day of free agency, so the Giants still have a little time to improve the roster. Free agency is not over. Then we have the draft coming up in April, so hopefully we can address the needs that we can. To help our team get better. I mean, we haven't made the playoffs since we won the Super Bowl, I believe, in like 4 seasons. So.
Yeah.
Time is ticking, man. It's time, for us to get back to the playoffs. Also, I want to cover some other NFL moves. The Jets signing Matt Forte. I think that was a big move. What you think about it?
It was a great move for them. They needed a running back. I mean, I think it's going to be very weird seeing him in a green Jets uniform.
Right, yeah. I'm used to him with the Bears for all those years, So
he's definitely always been my favorite player, so I'm kind of excited to see him in New York. Even though I'm a Giants fan, should still be pretty cool.
Absolutely. I think he's a good fit. The Jets, they have a great defense. Fitzpatrick, he surprised a lot of people last year. Have really good receivers, Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, so you have somebody in the backfield, who could take a little pressure off those guys with a great defense. They can be a sleeper, in the AFC, as well as I always also wanted to cover the Houston Texans. They signed Brock Osweiler from the Denver Broncos. Everybody suspected that, with Peyton Manning's retirement, I would say, that he was the next guy in line for them. But, I guess not. What do you think about him signing with the Houston Texans?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he just wanted to move on, and
Right.
he didn't want to be with the Broncos anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think his contract was 4 years, $72 million. So I think about $18 million a year. I think they said the Broncos was offering about 16. So
Took more money.
that's what it's about. In NFL free agency, a lot of these guys, it's not so much about winning. Everybody loves to win, but at the end of the day, it's about who can cut the biggest check.
It's a business.
It's a business. It's unfortunate because I'm a Bronco. I like the Broncos. I was rooting for Peyton in the Super Bowl. It's sad to see him go, but I still want to see the continued success with the Broncos. So it's unfortunate to see him leave, but hopefully, I wish him well. He's a promising young quarterback, so hopefully, he can create his own legacy in Houston. Hopefully.
I mean, how can you not root for the Broncos? I mean, they want, Peyton Manning, and of course he's just retired. But
right.
As a Giants fan and as an Eli Manning fan, I always liked Peyton Manning.
Yeah, right, man. But I mean, things happen. It's free agency. So nothing stays the same. But also, I also want to cover. There's a very surprising to me, Calvin Johnson retiring after 9 years. How do you feel about that, man? That's crazy.
I mean, I feel like he's. For a football player and retiring,
Right.
he's pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still in his prime.
I believe so. Yeah.
He's always been a great wide receiver.
Right.
Having him retire at such an early age is shocking.
Right. Yeah, I believe he's 29 years old. He had 9 great, like, Hall of Fame caliber years, in the NFL. It's unfortunate to see him go, man. I've heard, he has, over his career, I think the last 2 or 3 years, he had a lot of lower leg issues with his knee and his ankle. So he's really cautious. I think he's being, like, really cautious with his, with his future, not even just his, his NFL playing career. A lot of these guys, after they retire, they have a lot of issues with their, with their body, So he's made over $100 million in his career, So I think he's seen it as, I've made, so much money over the course of my career. I had a great year, even though it was short. I had a great career, even though it was short. But, I felt, he probably felt as though he did all he could. He had a great career. It was a great ride.
He did have a great career. See maybe if he can get into the Hall of Fame.
Hopefully, I would see 9 years. It's a little short, but I mean, he's honestly one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen. In this generation, he might be the best.
I can't argue with that.
You can't. He's up there. With the, he's just as, in my opinion, he's just as good as Randy Moss or Terrell Owens or any one of those guys.
Definitely.
Just as talented. Maybe the longevity, but I wish him all the well in his retirement. So
definitely. So do I.
Now, Josh, gonna switch topics. This is my favorite subject, basketball. Tonight we have the Cavaliers and the Lakers, also known as
the last game.
The last game with LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. That's crazy to even think about. How do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I mean, you got probably, excluding Michael Jordan, 2 of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Totally agree.
And
the argument's here.
They're both. I mean, I saw on ESPN earlier today actually that the last, I don't remember how many years, but the past few seasons, the only 2 players who have ever made it every year has been LeBron James or Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I think for the finals the last 8 or 9 years, but one of them has always been in the finals.
But they never faced each other.
That's the craziest part of it. It's unfortunate. You see these 2 great players, and you want to see them match up on the biggest stage, the NBA Finals. You've seen, going back, to the '60s. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain going at it in the finals, or even in the '80s with Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Those guys, they fought it out in the finals. Those are the 2 best guys in the league at the time. And, in our generation, it's been Kobe and LeBron. Those are the top 2 guys, but never seen them in the finals. I would have to say that's quite disappointing to never ever see that. We never will.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one day we'll see Durant and LeBron. I mean, that could be the next closest thing.
I mean, we've seen that already. I mean, that's the next closest thing, but it's like, man, Kobe, man, his impact on the game, man. Everybody wanted to be like him. Those are the 2 best guys in my opinion. So to see them, because they're at different stages in their career now. LeBron is in his prime, still trying to chase the ring. He's still trying to chase the ghost of Michael Jordan. Who's the greatest ever. Even Kobe, he was in that discussion as well. LeBron still title chasing, and Kobe, he's at his last season in NBA. We're coming up. I think he has like 20 games left in his career, man, which is sad to say. I wish I could watch him for another 20 years. But it's unfortunate. But seeing him go at it one more time, man, I would pay a ticket to see that.
Definitely. So would I. I mean, it's going to be very weird watching the Lakers next season. Kobe's just not going to be there.
Oh my God, It's not going to be the Lakers, man. Kobe's been there for 20 years. Think about that, 20 years, a 20-year career in the NBA. He's been through a lot. The Shaq and Kobe feud, injuries, issues with like his head coach, all these things. The case in Colorado, a lot of these things, man, and he's persevered and has had one of the greatest NBA careers we have seen. So we need to be appreciative of that.
Well, I know it's a little soon, but another player that I definitely wish well in his retirement.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as far as like LeBron goes, I've heard LeBron. I've seen interviews where he says, Kobe, when he was coming up in middle school, high school, Kobe was his idol. He's seen a guy that was 18 years old come in the league and take the league by storm. So that made him want to come into the NBA and do the same thing. He dreamt big. At that age. So, he always idolized Kobe. Has a lot of respect for him. I know they only play twice a year, but they always go at it. I always love to see those guys compete. The best brings out the best.
They're fun players to watch.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Especially when they play together.
Oh, yeah, just like the Olympics. I don't know if you watched 2008 and 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing those guys, it's like a super team. The best players in the league are on the same team, which is fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
Just to see those guys, play together on the same court, two of the greatest ever, which is fun to see. But overall, man, just seeing that last game, I'm gonna tune in for sure.
I'll definitely be watching that game.
Yeah, I believe it's at the Staples Center in LA, so I know it's gonna be, it's a late game, so it's gonna probably end at about 1 o'clock, but I'm gonna try my best. It's not so much about the matchup, but more so, the celebration of this last matchup. Because the Cavs, they're a contender, and the Lakers, unfortunately, they're not. But you can't. We really, I would love to see a better, competition as far as like teams, but you have two of the greatest ever going at it for the last time. You can't ask for more.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lakers aren't having a good year, unfortunately, but tonight should still be a good game.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm hoping it's it'll be a great game. But that's all the time we have for today. This was The Break. My name is Quincy Parrish.
And I'm Josh Butens.